Hey everyone, welcome to the front row. So I had a client today that had a shoulder impingement. So I thought I'd put this together to help anyone else that might have that. So quick definition here, okay? So what we're talking about is an impingement of the top part of the rotator cuff. So we've got four muscles of the rotator cuff. The ones we're most interested in today are the supraspinatus, which kind of goes right through this groove and attaches onto the humeral head, the infraspinatus, and the teres minor, okay? The impingement basically occurs, if you go to the doc, they'll say it's a subacromial impingement, which basically means sub is underneath the acromion. If you ever had an acromioplasty, what they've talked about is basically shaving off a little bit of the acromion. What happens is that as you lift your arm up, if you don't have the proper mechanics and strength in through here, the top of this humeral head starts to bang up against here, and that impinges this top part of the rotator cuff, which is the supraspinatus tendon, okay? You really got to take care of that. How do you know if you have it? Most of the time you'll have pain with overhead motions, okay? Especially if you go thumbs down. If you go thumbs down, you're taking this oblong part of the humeral head here, and you're banging it up against the bottom of this acromion. So you could irritate the bursa, but more importantly, you're irritating the top part of that supraspinatus tendon, okay? Now, rotator cuff is very susceptible, so you got to take care of this. Some studies have said up to 30% of people over the age of 60 don't even have a rotator cuff, it's just torn. And there's a lot of reasons that go into it, but the bottom line is we have to have a healthy, strong rotator cuff in order to have full shoulder function, okay? So I'm going to move this guy out of the way here. Okay, we're going to talk about the exercises first. First thing to remember is you must set your scapula. So the cue is to avoid that forward posture, okay, that rounded shoulders where the shoulders come in, okay. Scapulas are in your back pocket, okay. So what I mean by that is you're going to pick your shoulder blades back and then down. So your scapulas are kind of in your back pocket. So what that looks like is it's not back this way, it's back and down, or put your scapulas in your back pocket, okay? What that does is it kind of pops the chest a little bit, guys, makes you look a little bit bigger than what you really are, but more importantly, it puts the shoulder in a better mechanical position, okay? So the first thing we have to remember is get up out of that posture. If you have a lot of tightness through this thoracic spine, okay, you may want to foam roll a little bit first. I'll put a link to another video that I have in order to try to get this thoracic spine to loosen up, okay? So just going to bring your arm across your body this way. The goal is to try to bring this elbow as far as you can across your body. Now you may come up and down a little bit, you may put a little traction into it. In a perfect world, you're feeling a little bit of a stretch back through here and not getting a lot of jamming up front. If you're getting a lot of jamming up front, you got an AC issue as well too, that you may have to see someone to get taken care of. But ideally, you want to try to feel a majority of a stretch back in through here. Okay, so those are the two stretches that I want you to worry about. First of all is scapula back and down. What you can do with that is you can add a little retraction to it. Fold your hands together, scapula back in your back pocket and down, okay? That kind of brings the shoulder blades together, rotate your elbows in, and basically just tries to open up the front part of this shoulder, okay? Now let's talk about the strengthening exercises. All right, so the important thing about the strengthening exercises, first one, this is just some TheraBand in the door, okay? If you're at the gym, you can use a machine. It's basically a rowing machine, okay? It's a rowing exercise. So I've got this in the door here. I'm putting some tension through here. I'm putting my scapula or my shoulder blades in my back pocket, and I'm pulling straight back, going forward, about this speed right here, okay? Should not be real painful, okay, because once again, I'm below that impingement height, okay? That's the first exercise, okay? All these exercises, you're doing 3 sets of about 15 to 20, so you're keeping the tension fairly light, okay? The next exercise is gonna work a muscle called the Serratus Anterior, okay? So the other way to do this here is once this is elbow height, your arm is going to be straight, so I'm pretending it's my left arm now, okay? And all I'm doing is I'm not letting my elbow bend, but I'm going to let my shoulder blade retract, and then I'm going to bring it forward, okay? So all I'm doing is getting that shoulder blade to kind of glide, and I'm controlling the muscles that are responsible for that, and that's going to be really important. We're kind of strengthening the shoulder from the inside out, okay? So Serratus Anterior, it's called push-up with a plus. You can imagine if I was lying on a bench and if I had a dumbbell in my hand, I could use that where I push the dumbbell up to the ceiling. Whatever you want to do, but it's a small motion. Make sure the elbow's locked, and we're just bringing that arm forward, okay? Next exercise we're going to do is we're going to strengthen up the rotator cuff, primarily the lower two muscles, the infraspinatus and the teres minor. They're responsible for kind of keeping this humeral head stable. Studies have also shown that rotator cuff weakness is a precursor to shoulder arthritis. So even if your shoulders are healthy, you better have a strong rotator cuff, otherwise you could be setting yourself up for arthritic changes. So elbow, you got a little pillow or towel underneath here, just kind of keeps the elbow pinned in here. Once again, elbow height here, and all we're doing on this one here is we're spinning out, okay? Now, a lot of people will say this is the most functional motion, and I agree, okay? But it's a good starting point, and it really does a nice job of emphasizing strength of the infraspinatus and the teres minor, okay? So it's a good place to start. Now, you notice I'm not getting a lot of rotation in my trunk. Now, people say, gosh, you know what hurts if I get too far out? Well, guess what? Don't go so far out, okay? We're just trying to get that rotator cuff strengthened, okay? It's a good idea to do this on both sides. Okay, even on the unaffected side, kind of gives you an idea of where you're at strength-wise. Okay? Last one you're going to do is called Scaption, and basically what that's going to do is it's going to work on this top part, the supraspinatus. Now, you got to be careful. This is just some TheraBand here. You could use a dumbbell, whatever you have. I'm going to step on the end of it here. And I'm not going to come directly forward. I'm going to come just a little bit out to the side, about a 45-degree angle. Okay. Now remember, overhead motions are what got us into trouble. Okay. So scapula's in my back pocket, backing down. Okay. And I'm bringing this up only as far as I can in a pain-free range of motion. Okay. And even if it feels fine to go all the way up, I'm not going all the way up. I'm only going to eye level at the highest, and then I'm bringing it back down again, okay? There's usually a little sweet spot here that'll be the least amount of pain, okay? And what this one's doing is working the top part of that rotator cuff, the supraspinatus tendon, okay? So there you go, okay? So work on that. Ideally, if you're having a lot of shoulder impingement issues, remember, overhead motions are gonna be painful. I try to do this routine daily. Keep the tension light, 3 sets of 15 to 20. If you're watching this and your rotator cuff is healthy, you just want to be strong, do this routine maybe twice a week, increase the tension so you're doing about 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps, and see how you do. And let's keep that rotator cuff healthy and strong. Thank you. Let me know how you do, and I will post the video for the foam roller for the thoracic spine. So in case you're having trouble with stiffness through here, I'll put a link right up here so you can go to that. So, okay, thank you.